Built from Sundays. That's what Madden 26 is all about, and we're going to find out exactly how. Let's get into it. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, EA just dropped their Madden 26 deep dive, and it is a lot, and I mean a lot of information. I can say that all the information that's in that deep dive, I kind of already knew about, so I want to give a huge shout out to EA. Myself, along with some other awesome content creators, were invited to EA Studios in late May. We got to preview as well as play Madden 26. It was an awesome time, and like I said, everything that's in this deep dive blog was information that they shared with us while we were there. As you guys know, when it comes to these deep dive blogs and there being so much information, what I like to do is I like to talk about the things that interest me and maybe some things that the community might be talking about as well. So let's go ahead and have a look. So EA is just trying to master everything that we see on Thursdays, Sundays, Mondays, sometimes Saturdays, depending upon the year, and they really want to get that science right. I know that there's a sentiment out there in which people feel like EA is not listening to the community. They couldn't care less about what people have to say and what their overall opinions are. Well, that's simply just not true. And they state that in the deep dive blog, and that they are listening, and a lot of the requests that people have had within the past year and maybe even beyond, they've listened and they've implemented it within the game. So let's have a look at signature identity. They say here in the deep dive blog, our goal for Madden NFL 26 is to make each Sunday feel different and each game feel rewarding. Each time you play a game, whether it be versus the AI, another user, online or offline, you should feel immersed in a rewarding challenge, a strategic chess match, an overall NFL experience where the unique identities of the teams, coaches, and players have a meaningful impact on how the game is played and the wins and losses. This is what makes the NFL so insanely popular and exactly the experience that we're aiming to deliver. Madden NFL 26 delivering this signature experience through quarterback DNA, coaches DNA, and football weather. So if we look at player DNA, they're kind of expanding a little bit with QB signature. So in Madden 25, whether it was Jalen Hurts or Dak Prescott, they really wanted to hone in on making sure that they had QB signatures for everybody. So Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. There's over 40 unique quarterback recipes. Each quarterback is going to have their unique style, much like you would see on Sundays. Height is going to matter in Madden 26. A taller quarterback obviously is going to have a better advantage than a smaller quarterback. A quarterback like Josh Allen probably is going to be able to see the field a little bit better than, say, a Russell Wilson. I'm sorry, Russ, I had to say it. There's going to be 50 new player traits. There's a whole explanation within the deep dive blog of all the traits and what they actually do. The one thing that I don't know is if multiple traits can be applied to one player. Guess we'll find out and see. Obviously, coaches are different. They have their own style. They have their own set of tendencies in their play calling. Well, Madden 26 is bringing that to us. The way an Andy Reid calls a play is going to be completely different than a Nick Sirianni and how he calls a play, as well as Dan Campbell. I know a lot of people frown over coaching suggestions, but they've revamped it this year. So let's say you're Dan Campbell in franchise mode and it's 4th and 1 and you're not quite sure what it is that you want to do. Well, coaching suggestions are going to give you suggestions that Dan Campbell would do. He's not going to punt the ball, and he's probably not going to go for a field goal. He's going to go for it. One of the beauties with college football is that it can be sort of an experimental playing ground. And as you know, in previous college football titles, if there was something that they were experimenting, more than likely you were going to see it in Madden. And that's exactly what we have here, Real Coaching AI. Real-time Coaching AI, as they're abbreviating it, RTC, significantly advances Madden 26 schematic depth by providing players with an authentic NFL strategic experience that dynamically evolves throughout each game. Originally introduced in College Football 25 and praised by players, RTC now transitions into Madden 26 as our central adaptive AI system across all American football. Building on top of college enhancements to the system for 26, delayed shifts, improved formations, intelligence, targeted run recognition, and more, defenses can now disguise their intentions through delayed safety rotations, pre-play defense, from adjustments and precisely timed blitz packages. This evolution forces players to carefully read and react post-snap. So with playbooks, we're getting nearly 1,000 new plays. Some of the focuses for the playbooks in Madden 26 were motions and shifts, stunts and twists, exotic defensive pressure, new coach adjustments. So again, it just goes back to their slogan, built from Sunday. Every single Sunday, they are watching the games and they are seeing how the game is played. And if they are seeing something that's not in the game, it's going to be talked about in a way of how can we bring this into Madden. So with that being said, I don't know, you might want to pay attention to Washington's offensive playbook. You might want to pay attention to the Minnesota Vikings defensive playbook. There's going to be some tricky things in there. So I got to be completely honest with you. RPOs and trio offset in Madden 24 was my jam. They kind of cracked down a little bit on it in Madden 25, and now they're cracking down on it more than ever in Madden 26. RPOs are essentially going to be a non-factor in Madden 26. Also, and I'm guilty of this as well, when you go into coaching adjustments and you turn on conservative in hopes that you don't fumble the ball, those days are over. You're going to need to be strategic by using the cover ball mechanic in late game situations. Long story short, if you're a warm weather team, you're going to have a heck of a time trying to play in a cold weather environment, and vice versa. If you are a cold weather team and you are in extreme heat down in Miami or in Tampa, you're probably going to struggle in the elements. Also in the trailer, we kind of saw a little bit of a tease with the AI mechanics in cold weather games. So you saw players stumbling. You saw players not only stumbling in the snow, but you also saw them stumbling in the rain too. So they are making sure that weather is going to be a factor because it's truly a factor in real life. So with depth chart, they did talk a lot about the different defenses in terms of different linebackers, secondary positions, nose tackle, etc. So one of the things that really kind of caught my eye as they talked about the depth chart positions was the fact that they are looking at unique players that are entering into the NFL. One being Travis Hunter's going to be playing on both sides of the ball. So because of Travis Hunter, it really forced them to revisit the assumptions that the game makes about the position as a whole. We removed certain restrictions on the depth chart so that you can have Travis Hunter starting at both wide receiver and cornerback if you choose, along with any other wide receiver or cornerback. Get creative with the personnel and use wide receivers and corners as you would like. But be ready for wear and tear to make it a lot harder for them to be successful if they're playing every snap of the game. Hunter will have some benefits exclusive to him though. He's the first rookie we've ever made custom abilities for, deservingly so, and his unique abilities will make it so the impact from wear and tear will be far less than anybody else trying to play both sides of the ball. So there's definitely going to be some benefits in playing with Travis Hunter. I'm kind of curious to see how he's going to play at Mutt in Madden 26. So there will be some wear and tear. He's not always going to be 100% if you have him playing on both sides of the ball. But it is pretty cool to see that because of his talent, it did force them to kind of have a hard look at what playing two positions looks like and how it looks in the game. I honestly think that custom zones are going to be used a lot more than zone drops. I think players are going to see it being more beneficial to have control over each player rather than forcing each player to do the same thing all across the board. You don't need me to tell you this, but every aspect of the game of football is about strategy, which is critical. Wear and tear is definitely going to be a big component of franchise mode, without a doubt. Abilities. Yep, you saw that right. Passive abilities. It's no longer a guarantee that your ability is going to work. Once the conditions are met within your superstar ability, your chances do increase, but it is about a 50-50 shot as to whether or not it will work. Some might see this as a W, some might see this as an L, especially in Ultimate Team. I think questions are going to be abound though in terms of training cost. People might have the sentiment of, well, why am I going to spend a boatload on training if ultimately the abilities aren't going to work? Let's be honest, you're going to spend the training. It's a 50-50 shot, meaning it might work, it might not. But if you spend the training, it might work. Out of everything that was in the deep dive blog, those were the areas that stood out to me the most. If you made it this far into the video, make sure that you hit that like and subscribe button. We are still on a journey to try to get 1,000 subscribers on the channel. We are so close, and I know we can do it. There is still time in which you can pre-order the MVP bundle. It comes with the deluxe version of Madden 26 as well as College Football 26. Specifically with the MVP bundle and deluxe edition for Madden 26, you can get 3 days early access, 4,600 Madden points, early access to solo challenge, and a season 1 elite player item. Don't miss out on that opportunity. As more news breaks, I'll continue to share my thoughts and viewpoints, so make sure that you're locked into the channel. That's it for this one. I'll see you guys in the next one.